Before the sun fully rose over the eastern US, the feral hogs were already moving, wreaking havoc across the fields. For professional hunters like us, this is the moment to step out, facing the raw challenge and provocation of these wild beasts. Every move is more than a hunt. It's a battle of wits against instinct, survival, and sheer force. After 3 days of tracking and observation, I had learned the habits and movement patterns of this group. Today, my team and I decided to test whether our skills and instincts had dulled. Less than a minute of waiting, the shadow finally appeared. As if expecting it, there was no surprise, only admiration for the skill and experience required to face such sudden, destructive threats. The first clear victory was quickly followed by more hogs still hiding. In open terrain like this, everything comes into view fast. From the edges of the field, herds and lone hogs began pushing forward. I couldn't stop them all alone, but no worries. They were heading straight for John's kill point. True to form, John controlled the situation flawlessly. The impending threat about to flood the field was neutralized by the skill and experience of one expert hunter. Our defensive line was deployed perfectly. From the field's edges to deep inside, my teammates lay in ambush, ready to strike any target that appeared. The battle lasted only a few hours, but the results sent a clear warning. Any intruder would think twice before crossing these fields again. On the western edges of the field, a few of us held position. Silence descended, but vigilance never wavered. Then, a sudden bark tore through the quiet. This hog had to weigh over 200 kilograms. You can imagine what it could do with those tusks if we hadn't reacted in time. Like and share to give our team motivation to bring you even more intense and high-quality hunting footage. At the decisive moment, John's refined technique and steel nerves shone. Every shot he took was not only perfectly accurate, but eliminated threats before they could even form. Even the craftiest phantoms in this field couldn't act without John's command. This wall of control was proof of his authority, composure, and lethal precision. Before the dust could settle, new targets appeared. Without hesitation, we handled each one cleanly, even the smallest shadows. Every shot was executed with authority and sacred responsibility, protecting the crops, safeguarding the local community, and maintaining peace across the fields.
vida. No, sí. Sí, puedo. Sí. Sí.
After years away, returning to my homeland was a mix of emotions. My heart sank when I saw the cassava fields. The very source of our livelihood had been devastated, as if a storm had swept through. Culprits? Wild boars. A resolve hardened in me. Order must be restored. The next morning, we, the hunters of the village, set off. Will peace ever return to this field? Join us to find out. After quickly discussing our strategy, the team took up their positions. We donned our specialized camouflage gear, laced up our boots, checked the radio signals one last time, and carefully loaded our rifles. Behind the truck, the trained hunting dogs were eager and ready to go. Everything was set for a long day of hunting. The early morning mist still clung to the trees. Our team had positioned ourselves along the hillside, forming an invisible trap, with a clear view of the open field below. Upon receiving the signal via the radio, we released the dogs into the forest below, while another team took their positions higher on the hill. The dogs would drive the boars toward us, waiting at the trap. The tension in the air was palpable. Through the radio, I heard my teammate report the direction the target was moving. Suddenly, a massive dark shape, the dominant male wild boar, charged from the edge of the forest. We waited patiently for it to come closer, then opened fire. The boar panicked and bolted up the hill, straight into my line of sight. Boom! It collapsed instantly. The first shot was a clear signal that order would be restored, no matter what. Not long after, the sounds of the dogs barking echoed from the hilltop. A few wild boars were being driven down a gentle slope in panic. This time, I was lying in wait halfway up the slope, hidden behind dense bushes near a familiar escape route boars instinctively used when attacked from above. When the lead boar entered my sights, I squeezed the trigger. The shot only made them more disoriented, causing them to instinctively turn back up the hill. "They're coming back! Get ready!" I shouted into the radio.
Geri döndüler baba, geri.
Soon, supporting fire from my teammates higher up intensified, and one by one, the wild boars fell, dropping under the precise barrage. We continued moving upward to a higher point to control the area. From the hilltop, I spotted another large dark figure moving cautiously below. This one was moving very carefully, a sign that it was an older, more experienced boar. I patiently followed its movements, calculating its trajectory. When it came into my line of sight, I fired. The shot was perfect. It dropped right there. Around me, my teammates' gunfire was relentless, cutting down each wild boar with pinpoint accuracy. By noon, the sun was getting harsh. Despite the fatigue, none of us lowered our guard. We continuously updated each other through the radio, warning of any small signs of movement. Suddenly, another wild boar appeared, standing still below us. Perhaps it had gotten separated from the group. Without hesitation, I took my shot. A clean hit. The boar was injured, but its survival instincts kicked in, and it ran for cover. I immediately notified James, who was stationed at the base of the hill, to handle the injured boar. Upon receiving the message, James took up his position and stood still, his sharp eyes scanning the designated area. And there it was, the injured boar limping along. He prepared to deliver the final blow. With calm precision, James raised his rifle and took a single definitive shot. The game was over. Our professionalism was evident in ensuring that no threat remained for the safety of the community. As the evening approached, the hunting dogs seemed to still have energy left. Their barking erupted once more, pushing yet another boar toward me. This time, it would be a quick, direct confrontation. The boar bolted, and I pursued it with perfect timing. A loud shot rang out, and I saw the target stagger, then drop, lifeless, like a puppet with its strings cut. This was the final test of my reflex, marking the perfect end to a rewarding day of hunting. Now is the time when wild boars typically emerge at the forest's edge to forage for food. Hungry, alert, and aggressive, they are ready to attack if threatened. Realizing the danger of them approaching the village, we decided to take action to stop the threat. This hunt was not only a journey to face danger, but also a responsibility to protect the community. In the deep forest, every step we took was cautious. For ahead, there could be wild eyes waiting. It was only 5 a.m. when the roar of the engine echoed down the road, leading to the Vazquez forest. Upon arrival, we quickly gathered, confirmed the plan, and took our positions in hiding. Tension was high as our eyes scanned every movement around us. Suddenly, an unusual sound broke the silence. My finger tensed on the trigger. When the target appeared, the shot rang out, cutting through the wild run with a thunderous boom. That powerful move not only took down the beast, but also reinforced our determination to protect the sacred forest from the destruction of these wild creatures. As we moved deeper into the forest, every sense was heightened. Minutes later, the familiar rustle and strong scent filled the air. The wild boars had appeared. The shot rang out instantly, and each fleeing boar met its end at the muzzle of my rifle. In the blink of an eye, the chase was over. The beasts lay quietly on the cold ground, and for now, the forest had been saved from the lurking danger. At the same time, to the east of the forest, Nick spotted a herd of wild boars rushing through like a storm. Without hesitation, his finger tightened on the trigger, dropping a few of them instantly. However, the rest could not escape. We had already set up checkpoints, ready to coordinate in case the situation changed. Everything unfolded under control. An excellent result from a precise plan and a mentality ready to face danger. Deep within the forest is always the ideal place to approach the target. Without hesitation, I silently moved deeper. After a stretch of movement, I paused to observe. The silence around me felt suffocating. Suddenly, a shadow flickered in my sights. When it reached the crosshairs, I squeezed the trigger, and the bullet flew with precision. In the wild, only calmness and decisiveness can define the line between predator and prey. Receiving word that wild boars had appeared, we immediately moved to the scene. As soon as we arrived, the herd was already visible. Without hesitation, my team and I opened fire. A few dropped on the spot after accurate shots, and the rest quickly scattered. I immediately reported to Nick at the checkpoint. Just minutes later, the completed report came through. Another threat had been neutralized in time. After scanning the forest, we focused on the dense thickets, perfect hiding spots for the wild boars. Soon enough, the shadows of the boars appeared scattered throughout. Without letting them escape, we acted decisively, each shot landing with precision, ending the threat. Another part of the forest had been saved from the destructive grip of these relentless creatures. Forest's edge, the ambush team spotted a few wild boars frantically fleeing from their den. After hours of intense pursuit, the battle finally came to an end. Peace had temporarily returned. The villagers could now rest easy, knowing that the danger from the deep forest had been pushed back. This weekend, my whole family was buzzing with excitement for an outdoor adventure. But the moment we set foot on the land, our smiles faded. A surge of anger rose within us. The brutal tracks of wild boars were all over the place. I immediately alerted the team. Our family rushed back to the village. A quick, urgent meeting was called among the brothers. Our dormant hunting instincts, long asleep, now ignited fiercely, demanding razor-sharp focus and unwavering courage. Guns, ammo, tracking gear, all mobilized without hesitation. This was the moment to face fear head-on and prove that in this relentless survival game, we are the rightful victors. The hunt had begun. Join us as the story unfolds. We swiftly moved toward the signal source, a sparse forest, perfect feeding ground for wild boars, and just the right terrain for us hunters. A shadow slipped between the trees. I locked on the target. Suddenly, the boar charged at us like a bullet. My heart pounded fiercely. Focus hit its peak. I squeezed the trigger. The target dropped immediately. A clean shot marked the beginning of a tough journey ahead. Right then, the GPS blinked wildly, signaling a large group nearby. Backup plan in motion. The dogs were unleashed. Our goal? Herd the boars into a corner and finish them off. A sounder of boars. I quickly took position, locked the target. Bang! The first was down instantly. Panic spread. The boars scattered in chaos. Our hunting dogs sprang into action, chasing relentlessly, refusing to let any escape. The team fanned out, tracking this fierce species to the last. The dogs encircled a target swiftly. The moment was right. With a clear shot, I fired. The bullet found its mark, dropping it. Perfect teamwork. The chase continued. The prey was driven into a clearing at the forest edge, a perfect open spot to observe. Footsteps drew closer. Then, a shadow appeared. My heart raced, sweat poured. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. As I finished the breath, the bullet flew through, piercing the boar's vital spots. The second trigger pull sealed its fate. No matter the effort or firepower, we refused to let a single wild boar encroach on our village's land. The sun beat down harder. Fatigue set in, but no rest. The team signaled again. More wild boars. We moved fast to the position. The distance was tough for a clean shot, but failure meant the boars would vanish without a trace. A burst of fire brought down the first shadow. The boars reacted swiftly, scattering beyond our hunter's reach. Relentless pursuit was our mission. The team threw everything into cornering the herd. Dogs barked fiercely. Our partners in the hunt worked flawlessly. Before me, wounded boar was trapped. Without hesitation, I raised my gun and ended its suffering. Another trophy for today. A big question arose. Where did the rest of the herd vanish? We quickly scanned with compasses. Time to move. The boars were driven to the forest border by the cane fields. Arriving, the team took positions, seeking the perfect ambush spot. I held my breath, eyes fixed ahead. Then, a familiar shadow darted from the woods. I aimed and squeezed the trigger. A volley of bullets struck true. The boar dropped before diving into the cane. A breath of relief. Just a moment longer, and tonight, the cane would have been ravaged by these beasts. Dusk settled as we moved along the cane field's edge, hoping to score more kills. Focus and vigilance reached their peak. The target appeared unexpectedly. With sharp shooting and quick reflexes, the boar stood no chance before my gun. One shot, down for the count. How's that for a perfect shot? Don't forget to share your thoughts. The village was close now, but our hunter's fire still burned bright. Suddenly, a boar dashed out from the cane. In seconds, I sized it up and reacted. The bullet flew, hitting dead center, perfectly dispatched. What seemed like an easy shot was the result of years of practice and experience. I exhaled deeply. The day's hunt came to an end. The wild boar's savage rampage was temporarily stopped, peace restored to our village. I had planned to spend a few quiet days in Thomas's village, my close friend, just to enjoy the peaceful countryside. But that night, the calm was shattered by loud screams. A fierce pack of wild boars charged like a flood, trampling crops, tearing down fences, attacking livestock. The whole village erupted in chaos within moments. Thomas looked at me, his eyes saying it all. The vacation was over. We gripped our weapons tight and stepped into battle to protect the land and the villagers' livelihood. The hunt began right here. At dawn, while the morning mist still gently covered the nearly ripe wheat fields, we arrived quietly, eyes sharp, tracking the damage maker. Knowing wild boars' habits well, it didn't take long to spot them. As soon as the target appeared, I adjusted my scope. The shot rang out, deadly accurate, and the beast fell instantly. No time to relax. I followed the shifting shadows in the mist while signaling Thomas and the team to prepare the blockade. Gunfire echoed across the misty field like the first victorious anthem, and a few more targets were downed, fueling our strength for the tough battle ahead. After a brief chase, my GPS device suddenly beeped. Wild boars were close. The signals grew louder and more urgent, leading us straight to them. The boar hiding in the wheat field, seemingly safe, was easy to spot after all. Gunshots cracked, ending the menace quickly. Thanks to this modern gear, we saved precious time and energy in this fierce hunt against these cunning wild creatures. Meanwhile, on the west side of the field, Thomas was locked in a tense fight. One by one, the targets hidden in the ripening wheat revealed themselves. And from his ambush spot, he struck decisively. With his seasoned experience and impressive calm, every shot counted. No target escaped. The The gunfire spooked the boars, driving them toward the adjacent forest, but Thomas had anticipated this. He moved slowly, taking down a few more before they vanished into the trees. A bold move that kept the team in control. Seeing how the situation was evolving, the team decided to push into the forest to track the remaining dogs. In this dense terrain with limited visibility, the hunting dogs were our best allies for quick and accurate detection. Guided by familiar barks, I closed in. Then the silhouette emerged from behind thick trunks. Gun ready, finger squeezed the trigger immediately. The massive beast dropped right there. If it had escaped, who knows what chaos would have come next. We moved deeper into the forest, stepping cautiously to avoid making noise. Suddenly, rustling in the bushes. My instinct screamed. The boar was close. I took my stance, senses sharp as a bowstring. The moment it appeared was the moment of truth. Headshot! A perfect shot, the result of absolute focus and careful preparation. Success came quietly, but left a deep satisfaction. Following the fierce barking deep in the thicket, I locked down a position for a final blockade. It arrived, fast and silent like a ghost. Shot was true, but not enough to finish it off. The animal slipped deeper into the forest, a breathless encounter reminding me this hunt was far from over. I quickly reported the boar's hiding spot to Thomas. Soon enough, it reappeared. Without hesitation, he squeezed the trigger. A decisive shot that ended the final threat. Today's victory wasn't just about the animals taken down. It was about peace preserved, crops protected, and smiles restored to the villagers' faces. Recently, wild boar sightings have become more frequent around my uncle's farm. The fields have been torn apart and the crops devoured, leaving my uncle waking up every morning with a look of worry. He knew all too well that these creatures were cunning and hard to control. Faced with this situation, I suggested he set traps, an effective and low-cost method. But catching the animal was just the beginning. From that moment on, a tense battle began, one that would decide whether peace would ever return to the farm. To increase our chances of catching the wild boars, my uncle and I set up multiple traps at once, primarily using round cage traps, the perfect type for capturing an entire herd when they arrive together. We carefully placed the traps along well-trodden paths, where fresh footprints and droppings indicated that the boars had passed through not long ago. To enhance their effectiveness, we baited each trap with corn and cassava, hanging the bait near the entrance to lure the boars closer and trigger the trap. Early in the morning, my uncle and I silently followed the familiar path, heading toward the area where the traps were set for inspection. When we arrived, the sight before us took us by surprise. Several wild boars had already been trapped, the cages shaking violently. The cage traps were designed with a sophisticated self-locking mechanism. When a boar touched the bait, such as the corn or cassava hanging inside, the latch would immediately release, causing the cage door to slam shut, trapping the entire herd. Thanks to careful preparation and placing the traps in the right locations, unlike the main area, here, in addition to the steel traps, we also used hunting traps. Smaller, more portable, and easy to camouflage, perfect for the dense forest terrain and narrow paths. It took nearly 10 minutes for me to approach the area, carefully surveying my surroundings. Soon, a familiar figure appeared within my sights. But I didn't rush to shoot, as these creatures were clever and wary. The moment came, and my finger gently squeezed the trigger. It wasn't difficult for the clean shot I just made, and the result was well worth the effort. We sighed in relief as peace slowly returned to the land. Our traps are equipped with sophisticated devices, and as soon as the wild boars appear, a signal is sent directly to my device. Just minutes later, a signal from another trap went off as I finished my ambush in the east. I quickly scanned the area, and there they were, a herd of boars, completely unaware. The gunshot rang out immediately. Unbelievably, I had just made a perfect shot. What do you think? As the light gradually faded, we had no choice but to pull back from the area. The darkness posed too many risks, from unpredictable terrain to other wild animals lurking in the shadows. Suddenly, a strange sound caught my attention. My eyes quickly locked onto a group of wild boars, diligently feeding. In that moment, a single shot rang out, precise and deadly, sealing the fate of the stubborn creature. By the time the night descended fully, we were all exhausted, our clothes caked in mud. But the prize we had earned made it all worthwhile. The rest of the boars had already retreated deep into the forest. We packed up, double-checked our weapons, and silently made our way out of the woods.